Hello, today I'll be discussing alternatives to divorce. The first alternative to divorce is what we call a legal separation. A legal separation gives you the opportunity to be legally separated from your spouse, but not divorced from your spouse. This could be applicable if you have your reasons for not wanting to be divorced, for example, cultural reasons or religious reasons. You can apply to the court for what we call a legal separation. You could also apply to the court for legal separation if you're having issues with your spouse, funny habits. For example, your spouse is gambling or your spouse is piling up debts and you are no longer interested in relationship, or you are still in love with your spouse and you have not made up your mind whether to have a divorce or not. You can apply to the court to be legally separated. However, there are some little downsides to having a legal separation. Number one downside is that you still cannot remarry. Before you can have before you can remarry, you will need to also apply for a divorce. So even though you have applied for a legal separation, you also need to still apply for a divorce before you can marry. Another downside to legal separation is that if you have informal separation agreements, it is not legally binding unless you formally apply to the court during the legal separation. So it is important that when you're having a legal separation, you need to apply to the court that whatever agreement made with respect to your finances is approved by the court, which separates the parties' finances. If not, whatever agreement you have with your spouse is not legally binding. Another problem with legal separation is that it does not cover pensions. Even if you discuss pensions, the pensions are not enforceable until after you have formally filed a divorce. Another downside with the legal separation is that if the separation agreement is being challenged by your spouse, the court would have to look at the circumstances of the case and make a decision based on the current circumstances of the case, and also if the separation agreement is fair. Another alternative to a divorce is what we call annulment. However, you need to prove in an annulment whether the marriage is void or voidable. So, what is a void marriage? A void marriage is a marriage where maybe, for example, you marry someone you are closely related to, or both of you got married when you were under 18, or you got married to someone that was already married. For example, you got married to somebody only to find out the person got married to somebody else abroad before you. That is a void marriage. Now, a voidable marriage is a marriage that, for example, has not been consummated in clear terms. You've not had sex since you got married, or you did not properly consent to the marriage. For example, you were forced, maybe your parents forced you to marry someone. That is a voidable marriage. Or your spouse was pregnant for somebody else. When you got married to that person, that is also a voidable marriage. And or maybe your spouse is in the process of changing their gender. So, in those instances, rather than having a divorce, you can apply for what is called an annulment. But, however, you need to annul the marriage within the first year of the marriage. Another alternative to divorce is you could consider marriage counseling or mediation. Now, marriage counseling gives the couples opportunity to discuss their marital issues and address it before a qualified therapist or a marriage counselor or a mediator. It also gives the parties opportunity to be able to highlight the issues of their marriage, address the issues, and if possible, repair their marriage or give it a new foundation for a fresh start. Finally, the fourth alternative to a divorce is what we call postnuptial agreements. Now, this is an agreement you enter into after you have gotten married with your spouse regarding your matrimonial finances. However, the only downside to having a postnup is that it's not legally binding and it can be challenged in court if there has not been full and frank financial disclosure, or each party has not obtained independent legal advice, or you agreed to the postnup under duress, or the post-nup was not fair. For further enquiries, please do not hesitate to contact me and kindly take note that my consultation fee would apply. Thank you.